Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Mark Causey here from Black Cat Comics in rockin Milpitas. Every Wednesday is New Comic Day, and I like to give you some great reasons to get down to your local comic shop and pick up something fun to read. This week is packed with stuff that's fun to read. This is House of X number 6. Biggest book in comics, one of the biggest things going on right now. This is the last issue of this series. You can pick up a Black Cat pack of all 6 of them if there's any of them that you've missed. Really, really fun time to be an X fan. Really great stuff going on. Like I say, this is the last issue of this one. You'll get your last issue of Powers of X or Powers of 10 next week. And then starts X-Men number 1 and all the continued greatness that Hickman's got going on with all this X stuff. Believe the hype. This book is a lot of fun. If you've been holding out for some reason, pick up the reprint of number 1. Or like I say, just grab the Black Cat pack of all 6. You will not be disappointed. Marvel Comics number 1001. Because Marvel Comics 1000 was just too huge to be crammed into one oversized book. So the series continues, just as much fun, just as awesome, just as original, unique, and cool as the 1000 issue was. I was really, really impressed by that book. I'm really impressed with the concept, the execution, everything about this. It's a ton of fun. Pick up that 1000, grab this 1001. Like I say, it's really a unique comic experience, and I don't get to say that very often. Absolute Carnage, the Immortal Hulk, is a fusion of 2 of the biggest things going on right now. You guys are going crazy for all this Absolute Carnage stuff, and you've been going crazy for Immortal Hulk because Immortal Hulk is one of the awesomest books ever. These Alex Ross covers are what roped me in the beginning, but the book is just really, really awesome. So again, if for some reason you haven't been picking this up, grab the reprint of number 1, grab the first trade paperback, or just commit, grab this latest issue, grab whatever you want, because Immortal Hulk is really, really awesome, and it's a book that you ought to be reading. This week is packed with some of my favorite stuff. Immortal Hulk is one of them. Daredevil is one of them. This is a book that I've always been talking about. Has always been one of the most consistent and amazingly well done books that Marvel does. If you're any kind of Daredevil fan, you already know what I'm talking about. If you're not a Daredevil fan, you should pick up this latest issue. Grab the previous issue because that was the part 1, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Great stuff. Fantastic Four, another one of my favorite titles, one of my lifelong favorite titles, and the recent relaunch has just been super amazing. Classic stuff. Everything you want in a Fantastic Four book. Your favorite characters, the classic villains, that one, and its sister book, Future Foundation, with Molecule Man there on the cover. Great time to be a Fantastic Four fan. Doctor Strange, from my man Mark Waid, another book I've been talking about, another one of my favorite titles rolling out right now. This one's going to be wrapping up, so grab those trade paperbacks to enjoy all of the awesomeness that is Mark Waid and Doctor Strange. Savage Avengers. Everybody knows I'm a big Avengers fan. This book has been really cool. Kind of dark, kind of heavy, but great stories, great art, cool heroes, cool villains. I mean, Wolverine, Punisher, and Conan? Come on, that's just super awesome. Grab the Black Cat pack of 1 through 5. Just pick up this week's number 6. Great stuff. Speaking of Punisher, this one's another one of their red hot titles. I know Punisher isn't for everybody, but everybody that's reading this book is really digging it. So if you're any kind of Punisher fan, you might want to check out the current series and see what's up with that. Spider-Verse number 1. Some more stuff you guys can't get enough of. Everybody's loving Miles Morales. Everybody loves the Ghost Spider, Spider-Gwen. A lot of this Spider-Verse stuff been rolling out since the incredibly awesome animated feature. Great stuff there. Champions and Runaways are your millennial heroes of the Marvel Universe. And then we got some number 1s to talk about. Ghost Rider is back on a bike and back in his own title. Really great to see Ghost Rider in the more classic sense and back in his own book. Always great to see him. Contagion starts a new Marvel mini. You know I like anything with Ben Grimm on the cover. Bizarre Adventures. It's another number 1, taking us back to the 70s and 80s. A bit of a, I don't want to say a reboot. It's a blast from the past. If you're an old schooler like me, you remember some cool Bizarre Adventure comics. Fun stuff. And Star Wars number 72 rounds out your Marvel stuff. Always encouraging you guys to check out the great job Marvel's doing with all of their Star Wars line. And a great week for the DC guys. You know I love talking up some Batman. This is number 80. This is the latest issue by Tom King with some art by John Romita Jr., one of my all-time favorites. I know this book doesn't need much help from me. Everybody's already got this on their list, and It's selling out like crazy. If you're one of the three people that's not enjoying this, I suggest you give it a reread because, I don't know, I think it's as good as Batman has ever been. Batman in the TMNT. This is the last issue of the third series teaming up the Dark Knight and the Turtles. Everybody loves anybody teaming up with the Turtles. Got a lot of mashups to talk about. A little more on that later. Justice League is kind of your main event book right now with all of this Year of the Villain stuff. I've always said Justice League should be the DC event book, and they're doing that right now. All the big heroes, all the big villains. This is everything Justice League ought to be. Go back to number 25 or start at the beginning or just jump into this issue. Great, great time to be following Justice League. Harley Quinn and Deathstroke are your other Year of the Villain books. Cool Death of Superman homage there. Legion of Superheroes, Millennium number 2, is the second of a 2-issue series. Jeff Johns, Jim Lee, what more do you need to know? Great, great stuff. Grab that first issue, pick up this second issue, and soak up some of the entire timeline of the entire DC universe. Pretty lofty book they got going on, but boy, they've just executed it in spades. Great stuff. Everybody loves Jim Lee. Deceased is one of the few DC minis that's rolling out these days. This is your zombie-esque title. Cool horror book. That's been a lot of fun. Green Lantern number 12 is the last issue of, boy, what has been one of my favorite books in a long time. Really great to see Hal Jordan kind of back in the classic space cop role. Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp. Can't say enough about this title. It's going to explode into a whole other total different thing. So if you're a DC Comics fan, if you're any kind of Green Lantern fan, you're going to want to pick this up and see what happens at the end. Great stuff there. Lois Lane, number 4, another one of my favorite titles. Really, really excited to see Lois in her own book. I know it's just a mini, but I'm a huge fan of Lois Lane. I've always said that she could totally carry her own title, and they're doing a great job of it. And Young Justice rounds out your DC stuff, but there's always a little more DC to talk about. They've got this ad for a little Joker movie that's rolling out. Maybe you've got tickets to see it this weekend. This is the facsimile of Batman number 251. The Bronze Age return of the Joker. At this point, we hadn't seen the Joker in comics for a long, long time. These facsimiles are a lot of fun. They are exact duplicates of the original book with the ads and the whole bit. Excuse me. So do not pass this up, because going to be a lot of talk about this book. It's already one of the most expensive, one of the red hottest classic comics you can find. So it's really great to find that at a $3.99 cover price. And the Joker is your dollar book this week as well. DC has a whole line of DC dollar books. They've done Batman 608, they've done Harley number 1, now they're doing Joker number 1. This is the first issue from his classic series back in the day. Again, for $1, you just can't beat that. Great stuff. And The Flash, 100-page giant, is the latest of the 100-page monsters that DC's doing. New stories, reprint stories, fun stuff, totally self-contained one-shots. You don't have to know the history of The Flash. You don't have to know anything about these characters in these 100-page giants. That's sort of the point, is to just pick them up for yourself for some fun stuff to read, or for that new comic fan or the young reader in your life. Great stuff. And The Dreaming is your Vertigo Sandman Universe book for the week, because DC does so much more than just the superhero stuff. Fun stuff. And a great week for all the other guys too. Really been talking up all the indie publishers and what a great job they're doing with everything these days. Huge range of genres, huge range of story and art styles. Let's talk about the return of Grendel from Dark Horse Comics. Grendel is one of the all-time great independent comic characters. He's been around for decades. He's been one of the staples of Dark Horse Comics for a long, long time. If you don't know anything about Grendel, pick up the omnibus for all of the original stories, or just grab this issue and you'll read this and you'll see how awesome it is, and it will make you go back and pick up the trades for all the earlier stuff. Can't say enough about Grendel. Like I say, one of those characters that really solidified Dark Horse and the independent comic publishers in general. Great, great stuff. Great to see Grendel back in comics. And Berserker Unbound from Jeff Lemire is a great example of what Dark Horse has always done, what they pioneered, what Image pioneered, sort of the basis of all things independent comics these days, which is you can go to publishers that aren't Marvel and DC and do whatever the heck you want. Great stuff. Great stories, great art, like we always say. Birthright is my Image book of the week because I like any kind of barbarian action. Die is probably your book of the week because you love anything from Kieran Gillen. Sea of Stars is another one of the big red hot hits from Image, along with Space Bandits. Space Bandits, like anything from Mark Millar, is super hot and totally explodes because everybody likes everything he does. But then there's a whole bunch of first issue gotta have it Image books of the week, like Cobra #1, like Dead Eyes #1, or like Nomen Omen #1. Always encouraging you guys to grab these first issue Image books because, like I say, Image just does things that all the other publishers wouldn't do, and when these first issues are gone, they're totally gone, and you don't want to wait for the trade paperback. Fun stuff from Dynamite as well. I'm a huge fan of Dynamite because I'm just a big fan of a lot of their licensed property stuff that they do. This is the Betty Page Halloween special. Going to be talking about Halloween quite a bit over the next few weeks because, well, we're Black Cat Comics and we love us some Halloween around here. Dynamite loves to do these Halloween specials. This is your Betty Page one. You'll get a Red Sonja, you'll get a Vampirella, all that good stuff, so be on the lookout for those. Speaking of which, Red Sonja #9 and Vengeance of Vampirella #1, Vampirella's second ongoing title from Dynamite, shows you a little bit of what they do best. Charlie's Angels versus the Bionic Woman is one of the many great mashups that's going on. I told you we'd be talking about mashups. This is another great reason that I love Dynamite Comics because they do cool stuff like this. Batman TMNT is a cool mashup. Charlie's Angels Bionic Woman is a cool mashup. And Transformers Ghostbusters from IDW is also a cool mashup. Because you guys love anything Transformers, you love anything Ghostbusters. IDW does a great job with all of that 80s stuff. And Dungeons of Dragons is your other IDW book of the week because the only thing cooler than playing Dungeons and Dragons is reading about it in comics. And Strange Skies over East Berlin is your Boom Studios book of the week because I just like to show you that these guys do lots of other stuff besides the licensed property things. Boom Studios is really one of the more solid indie publishers, so if you don't know much about Boom, go to their website and find the Boom Studios book that's right for you. And what a great week for the all ages stuff too. Told you we'd be talking up some Halloween. This is your Archie Halloween special. Been talking up everything Archie lately. The great job they do with their horror line, with their mainstream line, and of course they keep all of the all ages stuff still rolling because Archie does a little bit of everything and they do it all really well as they have for 80 years. Great stuff there. Casper's Haunted Halloween, because the only thing more fun than Halloween is Casper the Friendly Ghost. Great stuff from American mythology. They do a really, really good job of bringing you reprints of the classic stuff, but also new stories with these classic characters. Love me any kind of Halloween special comic. Marvel Action Black Panther from IDW. Been talking up the great job IDW and Marvel have been doing with their, I guess it's a publisher mashup to do their all ages line. They do this one, they do Captain Marvel, they do Avengers, Spider-Man. Really, really great stuff. As I always say, something light for you or something for the younger reader in your life. Everybody loving Black Panther. And Star Wars Adventures Return to Vader's Castle. I can't tell you how excited I am about this book. Just in time for Halloween. So last year in October, they went weekly to give us a 5-issue Vader's Castle story. It's an all-ages story, but it's also a scary Star Wars story. What could possibly be more fun than an all-ages Halloween Star Wars story? Well, this is the sequel to that. Strongly encourage you to pick up the trade paperback of the original Vader's Castle series. Grab this first issue for the new Vader's Castle series. Grab anything Star Wars Adventures because, like I say, it's just really, really fun to see all-ages stories or Star Wars stories in this all-ages format. Lots and lots of great books this week, so check those shipping lists, get down to your shop, pick up something super awesome. That's all we got for you for this week. You can check us out at black-cat-comics.com and check out our especially cool Shopify store where you might find some things that aren't here in the brick and mortar. You can check out the Facebook page, check out the YouTube channel, check out the podcast at soundcloud.com, or just get on down here to the good old brick and mortar in rockin' Milpitas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.